welcome to Donna's Kitchen, where it's no corn and no soy. Today we are going to be making Kawi banana muffins. Now this particular recipe my uncle brought back from Vietnam when he was in the war. And this has been a family recipe that we have used ever since then. We usually make banana bread out of it, but I've decided to make muffins because it works the same. And I've cut the recipe in half because I don't want to make 64 muffins. I'd like to make half of that today. So first we have 3 bananas. You're going to be mashing up your bananas and adding eggs to it. This particular recipe, there's quite a few steps involved. Like there's going to be sifting, and we need the dry ingredients to be very fine. So this particular recipe will be sifted 3 times. And it is so worth it in the end because it tastes amazing. Break up my bananas. And the more spots you have on your bananas, the better, because that'll make your bread nice and sweet. So don't throw out your bananas. Use them for banana bread. Bananas. Nice and smashed. We'll go ahead and set this aside for a moment, because then we're going to go ahead and break up our eggs and whisk them, and then we're going to add the eggs to our bananas. Make sure you preheat your oven at 350 degrees, and you'll be cooking your muffins for 40 to 45 minutes. Now if you were making banana bread, you'd be making, it would be in the oven for 45 to 50 minutes. This recipe is great for breakfast. It's also great for Christmas gifts. So now that the eggs have been fully beaten, we're going to go ahead and add that to our mixture here. Make sure that the egg and the banana get fully incorporated together. And I've probably used a bowl that's a little bit bigger than I needed. Probably because I'm used to doubling the recipe, and you want it to kind of have this pudding consistency. So we'll go ahead and set this aside. Now we need to whisk the dry ingredients. Excuse me, sift the dry ingredients. I have my colander. I've got 1 1/4 cup flour. I have 1 cup of sugar. I have 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I have a teaspoon of baking soda. Now when my uncle used to make this recipe, he would use shortening, or he would most time he would use Crisco, and Crisco has soy in it, so I can't use that. So instead I use the butter. And that's the first time. You can see how fine it is already. Now we're going to go ahead and sift it into this bowl and make it even finer.
Quiet.
So you can see how fine our dry ingredients have become. Try to make sure I get it all in there. Oh, this is the second sift. And they have different type of sifters you can use. They've got the hand crank ones, the old-fashioned ones. I like this one the best just because it works for me. Now you can see how much finer it is. And we're going to do it one last time, and then we'll go ahead and cut the butter into it. And that'll be just the right consistency for what we need before we add our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients. You can hear my songbird over there.
No! What's wrong with you?
Elizabeth. This makes our third sift. And as you can see how much faster it was to sift the last batch because it was already so fine. I don't know how well you can see it, but it is very fine. Very fine powder. So, the butter has been sitting out. It's room temperature, so it's very soft. I like to use a fork. It's easy, it works for me. You can also, once you have your flour sifted, you can also do it in an electric mixer. I may do, and I actually enjoy doing it by hand. It's just the way I enjoy doing it. I feel like my ingredients are incorporated a little better because I'm able to feel how the texture is. And you want the butter to end up being little tiny pieces like the size of a pea after it's been fully cut in and incorporated with the dry ingredients. It's absolutely wonderful recipe.
I love it! I would eat it all.
And you didn't hear it from me, folks. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my egg mixture to my mixture that I just created. And when you're mixing these two together, you want to make sure they're fully incorporated, but you don't want to overmix it, because if you overmix it, it will fall during the baking process. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix this together. And the reason I don't like using an electric mixer for this one is because I'm always afraid of overmixing it, and you do not want to overmix this batter at all. Make sure it's just to the point where it's fully incorporated. It is. And we're going to go ahead and put it in our muffin pans. Now, if you're using a regular muffin pan, then go ahead and line your muffin pan. But if you are using a silicone, you don't have to line it. I usually try to save my liners just for, like, you know, cupcakes. And I like using an ice cream scoop to measure out my scoops. I have right here. So if there's anything that you'd like to see me make, go ahead and post it in the comments. I'm interested in hearing about your experiences in the kitchen, whether you've tried these recipes yet or not, and if you have, please tell me what you think of them. And we can share in the experience. I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven now, 350 degrees for at least 45 minutes, and then I'll check on them after that. And check the muffins. I use a toothpick and I make sure that I don't put it in the spot where banana is, just, you know, where the actual muffin part would be versus a chunk of banana. And then I stick the toothpick in, and if it's completely clean, then I know that they're done. Another way I do it is I squeeze the top of the muffin, and if it kind of has that bounce back, then I know it's done. So now we just wait for the muffins, and they'll be out in about 45 minutes. Okay. Getting out my handy dandy toothpick.
I'm looking at this video. Or maybe it's a bell.
They're nice and golden brown, and they came out nice and clean. Here they are. They need to cool for a few minutes, and then we can pop them out of the pan here, make another batch. So this is our first batch. We've got about 10 more minutes left on the second batch, but they're so good we just have to try them now. You want to go ahead and grab one?
Yeah.
One, two.
They're good.
So good.
My mom makes the best ones.
Thank you, honey. These are so good. You need to try them.